our eyelids with my P. Louise Space. This one is in Rumor 2. If you guys see me looking down, it's because my mirror is right here. It has been such a long time since I do a full like eyeshadow look that I think I forgot where to even begin. For today's eyeshadow look, we're gonna be using, actually let me start off by telling you guys what I'm doing today. So I went on my Instagram yesterday. I posted a few polls to see what kind of look you guys wanted me to do, and these are the answers. I'll post it right here. So I put to choose between a soft glam look or smoky eyes. 61% of you said soft glam, so we're gonna go with soft glam. To create this soft glam look today, I'm gonna be using the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. I've had this palette since it came out, but I actually never used it. This palette is absolutely beautiful. I feel like you have so many different shades in here that you can create so many different kind of colors and so many different eye looks. I know this was a limited edition, but if you can still get your hands on it. To start off, I'm gonna set my P. Louise base using the shade Canvas, which is this one right here. I'm actually gonna do one eye off camera and I'll be right back to do the other eye with you guys. Okay, so this is kind of what I came up with. I'm not fully done yet, but I'm gonna start doing this eye on camera now, so then I can see what other changes I want to make. I was supposed to be going for a soft glam look, but I lied. Alrighty, so to start off, I'm gonna be going in with this brown shade right here. I'm just gonna do a little circle. It's gonna look a little crazy at first, but don't worry, we're gonna blend it out. I'm also going to just be patting it in. I'm not gonna be blending it out yet. Once it looks like this, I'm gonna be going in with lighter brown shade right here. Now with that, I'm gonna go in with a more fluffy brush and I'm gonna start to blend out the edges. Very lightly, because you don't wanna go all the way up to your brow bone. Don't worry if it looks a little bit messy now, because we're gonna cut our crease and that makes everything so much better. Shadows blend so nicely. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here to blend out the edges some more. And then with a clean little brush like this one, you will just blend out everything together, make sure everything is nice and seamless. And don't worry if it looks a little bit crazy right here, because we're gonna cut our crease. Okay, now to cut your crease, this part is the hardest part for me. But I'm gonna be using to cut my crease, I'm gonna use the same P. Louise base. And then I'm going to be using a little brush like this one, which if you can see, it is extremely flat. And when you're cutting your crease, you want a brush to be super flat so that you get the sharpest line, kind of like how this one is very sharp. Now, a little trick that I have is I will put some of the P. Louise base. You can also use a concealer if you don't have the P. Louise base. And then instead of just tapping it in and going right in, what I like to do is I kind of like to go back and forth with the brush and get it as flat as possible, so that way all your product is inside the brush, and when you're cutting your crease, it'll just make it a lot easier. Once you have your brush like this, super flat, I'm going to just tap it right in the middle of my eyelid, and then I'm gonna look up, and then you kind of get that marking of where you should cut your crease. That way you do them both evenly. I can't talk when I'm cutting my crease, so I'm just gonna go very, very slowly, kind of. I'm not going to swipe, I'm gonna do patting motions, I'm gonna make sure that I get the line, like the outline that I want first, and then I'll start shading it in. So kind of like stamping it on. And I'm only cutting my crease about a little bit more than halfway. Then once I have it cut, I just go back in with the P. Louise base and I fill it in. I do the bottom first and then I start working my way up to the line that we have created. And there we have your cut crease. Now I'm just gonna go in with the same brush that I used before with my P. Louise base, which is just a big brush like this, and I'm just gonna pat it in very gently just to make sure that everything is flat, there's no creases in there. This step is optional, you don't really have to do it, but I like to do this step. Also, it kind of sets my base a little bit with whatever leftover powder I had from when I set it earlier. So once you have your cut crease, and I'm still not the best at cut creases, but I do feel like I came a long way. So now I'm gonna add the shimmery shadow. I'm gonna be using the shade Fortuna, one right here. And I'm gonna be using a flat brush like this one. I'm just gonna be tapping the color on. I'm not gonna be swiping. I'm gonna be tapping so that I can get the most color. I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna be doing the bottom first, and then once I'm getting closer to the cut crease line, I'm gonna go very gently so I can follow the line. That way we don't mess up the shape that we have made. Going in and deepening the outer corners. I'm gonna go back in with the shade Coconut, which is this dark brown shade. This step is also optional, but I really like to do it because I feel like it kind of ties everything together. I'm gonna be taking this super tiny brush. So as you guys can see, it is super tiny. It kind of has the perfect angle to it. I'm not gonna add any additional product. I'm just gonna kind of go and grab the product that I have at the outer corner and just follow the line where I did my cut crease. And I'm just going to continue blending until I feel like everything looks seamless. Okay, so this is all that I'm gonna be doing for the eyes for now. I'm gonna move on to my face and then we'll come back and finish the eyes. So for my face, you guys chose a dewy complexion for today. So I'll be using my Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation. But before I go in with that, I'm gonna go in with some primer. The primer that I'm gonna be using today is my Stila One Step Correct Skin Tone Correcting and Brightening Powder Primer. So when you use this primer, you can kind of see that it gives me like a greenish cast over my skin. The reason why it does that is because that's what helps with the redness. Since we're doing a dewy look, I want to be extra today. And I'm going to be using my MAC Strobe Cream. This one is in the shade Bold Light. Just a little bit of this because it's a little glittery. So I don't want to apply too much. If you guys can see, it gives me like a very glowy look. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with my Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation. Mine is in the shade Golden Beige. It might be a little bit dark because I think this is my summer color, but we'll make it work with some concealer. I'm gonna be using this e.l.f. sponge for the first time. It actually is super big once you wet it, and it feels so fluffy. This shade is actually not that bad. I'm so sad because it was so nice and white, and now I'm gonna be going in with my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Mine is in the shade Light Beige. Once I'm done with my concealer, I'm going to be going in with cream bronzer today. I'm going to be using my Fenty cream bronzer in the shade 05 Teddy. And I'm going to be applying that with my Fenty brush in the number 125. Now to set my face, I'm going to be going in with my Anastasia Loose Setting Powder. I like to set my face with a dry little beauty blender sponge, so I'm using this one from Wet n Wild. Just gonna use this powder to set everywhere that I applied my concealer. And I also like to set my smile lines. It's gonna look a little crazy, but don't worry. Now I'm gonna go in with a big fluffy brush like this one, and I'm just going to set everything else using the excess powder that I had under my eyes. I'm gonna be using tapping motions. And then I'm just gonna dust away any excess powder. Now I'm gonna go back to the eyes so I can finish my lower lash line. For my lower lash line, I'm gonna use that same brush that I used for the dark brown, and whatever is left over, I'm going to just use under my eyes, very close to my waterline. I'm gonna go back into the palette, tap a tiny bit back into that dark brown shade so I can do the other eye, because I didn't have that much brown left in the brush like I thought I did. Now I'm just gonna go in with the lighter brown that we used earlier to smoke it out a little bit more. And what I like to do is I like to kind of connect my lower lash line to what I had going on the top. And to finish that off, I'm gonna go into the orange color that we had gone into, and I'm gonna add that right underneath all those colors. I'm gonna go in with a nude on my waterline. This one is my ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Honey Dude, or yeah, Honey Dude. Now we're gonna go back into the face, and then we'll finish up the eyes in 1 minute. I know I'm back and forth, but this is usually how I always do my makeup, to be honest. So for bronzer, I'm trying out this new bronzer. Well, it's not new, but it's new to me. This is the Sephora Colorful Contour in the shade First Touch number 36. I'm gonna blend that out a little bit because I went a little ham. I'm also going to be going into my Belgian Waffle palette from BH Cosmetics. I'm going to be going into the shade Batter and Cinnamon mixed together, which are these two shades right here. And as always, I'm going to go in with my very fluffy brush. This is my favorite bronzer brush. This is the Morphe M527 brush. Okay, now for blush, I am going to be going into the Serafina blush from Juvia's Place. Oh, it's actually a Freak blush by Juvia's Place, but I think the color is Serafina. I'm not sure, but this is what it looks like. I usually like more of an orangey blush rather than like a pink blush, so that's usually what you will see me gravitate towards. Oh my god, this is so pigmented. It's my first time using it. I did not know it was gonna be that pigmented. So when you guys see that you go very heavy-handed in with a product, just go back in with the sponge that you used to apply the translucent powder, and then you go in the blending brush and it'll be so much better. This blush is a little bit too orange. I'm gonna be going in with my BH Vanilla Peach Truffle, and I'm gonna go into the darker shades, which are these two on this side, just to kind of even out the extremely orange blush. And I always like to apply a tiny bit over my nose. And then I'm gonna go in with my Wet n Wild little contour kit. This one is in the shade Caramel Toffee, and I'm gonna use a little bit of the contour shade. I want to clean up underneath just a little bit, so I'm gonna be using my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder. I'm just gonna be using the same little sponge. Gonna just tap it in there a little bit and right underneath. And with the same little powder brush that I used earlier, I'm just gonna dust it all away. Now I'm gonna do my eyebrows. I usually use my eyebrow pencil, but I don't know where it is right now. So I'm just gonna go in with my brow powder. This one is in medium brown. I'm gonna be setting my eyebrows with my NYX Control Freak brow setter. For my brow bone, I'm gonna be using my Amrezy highlight, of course, with a very small brush. And I'm gonna be using the same highlight on my face. Now for lashes, I'm gonna be using my lash brand, and this one is in the shade Baby Girl. They look like this. Mine have already been worn about like 6 times and they still look great. The lash glue that I always use is one of my favorite lash glues. This one is the Kiss Strip Lash Adhesive. Just wait a few seconds for it to get tacky. Look at the difference that lashes make. And then with our lash applicator, I just like to go in and just very gently squeeze my real lashes with the false lashes. I always like to apply my inner corner first, just because I feel like once I have the inner corner applied, it just makes it way easier for me to apply the rest of the lash. And then once again, I'm gonna go in with our lash applicator and make sure that both my lashes and the false lashes are like together. I also always include one of these in my orders because I like to brush them, and also because if you clean them, which you can use this to clean them with and kind of like take care of them, you can reuse these many times. Not everyone likes to do this, but I always apply some mascara to my lashes just because I like to make sure that my real lashes blend in with my falsies. And I'll also apply the same mascara to my lower lash. Off the look, I'm gonna go in with my Milani Make It Dewy setting spray. And I'm also gonna be using a little bit of my Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist. On my lips, I just applied the KKW lip liner in Nude 2, and I'm gonna make a reel of my lip combo. So if you don't have me on Instagram, you definitely should add me. I'm gonna put my @ name right here. But if you do have me on Instagram, then you probably already saw my reel, or you're gonna see my reel soon. Make sure you go like it. But yeah, I'm just gonna be using this, my KKW lipstick, I'm sorry, and my Jeffree Star lip gloss. So if you're interested in seeing the lip combo, make sure you head over to my Instagram and also follow me while you're at it. Yeah, I was gonna do my hair with you guys, but my hair ended up drying very nicely, so I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. Let me just take off this headband. Wow, my hair actually air dried so nicely. But yeah, this is basically gonna be the completed look for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give me a like down below. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know what other looks you guys would like for me to do. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I mean, if you're not subscribed, then what are you doing? You already watched my video, so you might as well subscribe. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm just gonna give you guys one last look. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it like I already said, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.